Okay, anything to the power of 0, so the 0 index. The rule is anything to the power of 0 equals 1. Let's just have a little look at that. So if we have 5 cubed, that's 5 times 5 times 5. 5 squared is 5 times 5. 5 to the power of 1 equals 5. Now what you'd notice is there's one less 5 each time. We're dividing by 5 to get from one line to the next. Okay, divide by 5, so 5 times 5 times 5 divided by 5 leaves us with just 5 times 5. 5 times 5 divided by 5 just leaves us with 1 5. If we divide by 5 again, 5 divided by 5, that gives us 1. So that's why it works. Anything to the power of 0 equals 1. Now let's look at what that means in reality over here. So 7 to the power of 0, anything to the power of 0 equals 1. 36b to the power of 0, because of these brackets, everything there is to the power of 0, so that equals 1. Okay, that looks pretty nasty inside those brackets, but it's all to the power of 0, so it equals 1. Okay, it doesn't matter what you've got, if it's to the power of 0, it equals 1. Okay, we're just going to get just slightly more complicated. So 8 times 7 to the 0, we know that 7 to the 0 equals 1. So that's the same as 8 times 1. Okay, and that equals 8. Let's try this one. 3 to the power of 0, well that equals 1, plus 4 to the power of 0, that's 1, plus 5 to the power of 0 is another 1, so altogether that equals 3. Okay, this one here is a little bit more complicated and it's a lot like question 4, this one here. The 2 and the 8 are like the same thing, the m to the 0 and the 7 to the 0 are the same thing. In algebra we just don't write that multiplication sign, but otherwise it's the same problem. Okay, so the m to the 0 equals 1. The 2 is not to the 0, so the 2 is still there. So it's 2 times 1. Okay, m to the 0 is 1, but this is 2 times 1, and that equals 2. So I'm going to do a few problems here that are kind of like question 2 and question 6 combined. Okay, when there's brackets it equals 1. When there are not brackets, you need to work out what it is. So let's have a look at these two. So no brackets, we need to work it out. The p to the 0 equals 1. So 3p to the 0 is 3 times 1. Minus, everything here is to the power of 0, so that all just equals 1. So 3 times 1 is 3, minus 1, that makes 2. And this is the same basic idea. This numerator is not in brackets, so we have to work it out. So it's 11 times 1, just like in question 6. And then the denominator, it is in brackets, so it's all to the power of 0, so the whole thing just equals 1. So 11 times 1 divided by 1, that equals 11. Okay, so there are the questions for you to do.